Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesdays. We're very glad you're with us. It's July 20th, 2021. For those people on Zoom, if you have any questions, please just enter your questions into the chat box. And for those watching the chat window, and for those on Facebook, you're welcome to enter your questions into the comment field. I am monitoring that feed, and we'll be sure to get those questions answered as our speaker takes a break. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, and if you have your microphone or camera on, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that comments that are in the Zoom chat window do not appear in the recording. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org to help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I started careerusa.org to help people outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area in their job search. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. The group's been around since the late 1990s, but I took it over in 2007. And I'll tell you about our interesting upcoming programming that we're having this Friday at the end of this session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team. If you need to practice your interview skills, please reach out to me and I will get you in contact with the right people. Practicing your interviewing is extremely, extremely important. Well, we have 4 different speakers who rotate through on a monthly basis to talk about LinkedIn. They each bring their own area of expertise to us. Locke, Alderson, Terry Sullivan, Ruth Lipsky, and Kurt Vonnemutter. Just, interesting perspective of what they each want to share, and each one that talks about something a little bit differently. So today our speaker is Locke Alderson. He's a career consultant, recruiting consultant. He's going to talk about how to use LinkedIn for job hunting, strategies that gets results. So good afternoon, Locke, and take it away.
Thanks, Jeff. We'll see if we can get this to work right today.
Here you go.
Start with a slide share. We're up and running, I guess. Can we see that?
Yeah, do you want to put it in full screen or you want to leave it in?
That better?
It's still, I'm just seeing your slide deck. I'm not seeing not in full screen.
How do I do full screen, Jeff? Help me out.
At the very, very bottom, there's a, right next to all the little icons at the very bottom, 1, 2, 4th one over, has a little screen.
Well, I've completely lost you now, Jeff.
Can you see this right down here?
No, okay. New share?
I'll do a new share. Try again.
It's the one that looks like a TV.
Do you have one of your slide things looking full screen?
I don't have that on mine.
Okay.
2 more.
Up on, so we're seeing the PowerPoint presentation that as I'm building a PowerPoint presentation. Do you have that screen up?
No. That one?
Sort of. So at the all right, so can you hover over the very, very top? You see it says auto save and then a saving button and then a return.
I don't have any of those.
You don't see that. All right, why don't you click on slideshow? And then I'll do start from the beginning. There you go. There we go.
Okay. Well, that's actually move that to the bottom. Okay. Well, I'm not a techno weenie. Jeff's the tech support and helps me out on it, but I'm Locke Alderson. I've got 42 years in recruiting and HR. And at the same time, back in 2001, I started doing career consulting as a volunteer and speaker at workshops and seminars, and retired from Oracle in 2000 at the end of, in June of 2010. And in 2013, I went to work for Mullen International, an outplacement firm out of New York. Contract for 90 days when they got the Chase contract for outplacement. That lasted for 4 years and 90 days before they sold out to Lee Heck Harrison. And Lee Heck Harrison, well, Mullen laid everybody off, and I went to work for Lee Heck Harrison a month later. I was with them for 2 years before I finally stepped down in December of 2019. I've been working, as I say, a speaker, workshops and seminars, got used to using LinkedIn back when I started with Siebel Corporation, which was bought out by Oracle. I'm going to get started this morning if my clicker works, and it's not working. So I don't know what the deal is today. Okay, but we want to talk about LinkedIn, talk about why you use LinkedIn. Is talk about that and your profile, how you optimize your profile so that you can get found on LinkedIn, and then taking a look at how recruiters actually conduct searches, and then how do you apply for jobs, because that's another part of it, and then finding people so that you can network into people and get your profile or your resume into them, and then some homework for you to take home with you. So that's kind of where we are today. It seems to be working on my clicker. LinkedIn was originally a tool for sales and marketing people for networking, and it grew to the point where now it's about 750 million people worldwide, and about 160 million of those are in the United States. So recruiters wised up and adopted LinkedIn very quickly. There are currently about 1,400,000 recruiters on LinkedIn on a daily basis to find and engage talent. LinkedIn is now the #1 tool that's used by recruiters and hiring managers to find, source, and qualify candidates. It's estimated that somewhere between 85 and 95%, I'll use 92% of the hiring managers use it as a tool to find people. At any point in time, on any given day, there are about 30 million employers that use LinkedIn, and they have anywhere from 20 million or so jobs that are available on any given day. If you aren't on LinkedIn, you can go to YouTube and sign up for LinkedIn. How to sign up for LinkedIn and fill in your profile. Again, it all starts out with your profile. And basically, that's your homepage on LinkedIn. It has a number of things that you see real quickly. You can notice on my background, the background shot that I've got there, got a headshot. There's information. My name is right here. My headline is right here. This area of your headline has, instead of 120 characters, they've upped that to 220 characters now. They've down that where I'm located, and I have over 500 connections and my contact information. Again, I'm open to work as well. I've limited in this particular screenshot to only to recruiters, but those are the first things that recruiters or hiring managers see when they open up your profile. One of the things that you're looking to do is to get them to click through to look at more. Let's take a look at the rest of your profile and how you do that. One of the first things that you need to be aware of is, how do you increase your LinkedIn rating? Well, LinkedIn gives each section of LinkedIn a value. And those values add up to a top score. In any given search, in any given category, those with the highest ranking are going to rise to the top of that search list. Okay. So one of the things you want to try and do is to get to all-star status, which is the highest rating that you can attain. A headshot that was on mine with a shirt and tie is a good idea for guys. Ladies, again, that's something that I'll let you dress accordingly for that. But in a background or banner photo, again, that's helpful too. And we'll talk a little bit more about other things that you can include in that a little bit later. Your headline, it's a job title, the position you're applying for. And if you don't put something there, it's going to default to the last job title in your employment section. So you want to use that section of 220 characters to tell what it is that you're looking for. You're open to work under your headline. Not everybody uses that. Again, you can fill in that information and gives you an opportunity to list 5 more job titles, the kind of work that you're looking for, whether it's full-time, part-time, contract, or some of the others that you can work on there, and also where you want to work. And that's helpful because if you've opened it up to all of LinkedIn, they can know. I talked to a candidate this morning and suggested that he do that. With his profile, he says, how do I go about finding a job? And I said, well, the best way is to let your network know that you're looking. Well, my network on LinkedIn is about 6,000 people. So you can let your network know. But others of you who are working or may not want to use that, may want to limit it to just recruiters. Again, that's for the recruiters that subscribe to the LinkedIn Recruiter software license. The About section used to be called the Summary, as an overview of your career. You want to use keywords from your profession in that. You need to have your contact information in the first line of your About section. Your contact information is shown on the screen. If you aren't open to contacting other people, or if you aren't a LinkedIn open networker, again, your contact information is going to be available to hiring managers and recruiters that haven't subscribed to the LinkedIn Recruiter software license. Again, so you want to let them know how to get in touch with you. So it's easy on the top line of your About section. Many of the resumes or profiles that I've looked at have the contact information, but it's at the bottom of the About section. Nothing wrong with that. I would simply add it to the top as well, because only the first 3 lines of your About section show when somebody first looks at your profile. Your Experience section should include your job title. If you have an unusual job title, you want to use the generally recognized title in industry and put it in parentheses. You want to add a description of your duties and your results of performing those duties, as well as keywords from your profession. You want to include skills, and you can include up to 50 from your profession, and endorsements. Again, endorsements are simply somebody can check that you have expertise, and they can let people know how you know that. Okay, as a coworker or somebody that's been a client, et cetera, been a boss. You want to include your education award, certifications, and professional development. All too often, when I look at a profile or a resume, all I find is that somebody has a degree. They don't include their rewards. They don't talk about any certifications they may have achieved, and they fail to talk about the professional development classes, seminars, workshops they've attended to keep current in their profession. You also want to have recommendations from coworkers. These are basically letters of reference. Okay, it makes it easy for the recruiter to scan through those and see about your experience and what somebody else has said about you. Well, let's go back to take a quick look at your profile. One of the things that you can do up here in the top is to, sorry about that, is to take a look at your screen and edit is your public profile public or not. Again, down here you can change your URL, and usually it has your name and a dot or a dash, and then some characters, anywhere from 8 to 10 characters after that. And you can add things like a dash, and the friendly CPA for Mike Warner, who's on the call today, you could put that on there as well. Again, these are ways to identify you. If you have an unusual name, a little bit unusual like I do, then you don't need to do anything different. If you're John Jones in Dallas, Texas, I know at least 2 Jeff Jones in Dallas, Texas. Both of them happen to be pastors. So figure out which one of those to go to. So again, something to differentiate is okay. If what you put in here is not okay, like Jeff Jones, it's going to give you the red check. If you get a green check, it means that you can go ahead and use that. Again, is your profile really public? Again, you want to go into your settings and privacy, and I went into mine today to play around a little bit on that. And you can go in and set things like who can take a look at it. The 2 areas that you definitely want to take a look in terms of visibility of your profile: who can see or download your email address, and who can see your connections. If you're in job search mode, you may want to change who can see your connections, because recruiters go in and build a contact list from that. If they can see who's like you, they can glance through your connections and find out if they have a similar background. They might add to their search list as well. But take a look at your privacy and settings. It's worth taking a look and doing that. You can also go in and set so that people don't see the changes when you're making them. Every change that you make on your profile, you can turn that off until you've completed all your changes and then turn back on. I did a couple of changes on my profile this morning. Again, so let's get back to your profile and take a look at it. Recruiters spend about 6 to 10 seconds looking at a profile, and this is what they originally see. You can notice the background filter. Here I've turned on the Open to Work. It has that green banner there. It also has some information about that, the different job titles that I might consider, the roles, whether it's part-time, full-time, contract, temp, etc., and where I might want to work. And it's open to all LinkedIn members. By checking that, you do have that green banner that's there. If you do use that, you may need to make sure that your photo is adjusted accordingly so it doesn't cover up your face. But you notice some other things there. In terms of my name, I've used my name that I use. My actual legal name is John Locke Alderson Jr. I had to sign that a couple of times on some legal documents last week. But I go by Locke, my middle name, because my dad was John Locke Alderson. My son is John Locke Alderson III. I always play around with a telemarketer when they call and I like to speak to John Alderson, and I say, which one? And they say, well, senior. And I say, well, it's a little hard to do. He's been in the ground for about 20 years now. So again, those are some things that you can do. Make it easy for the recruiter or the hiring manager to use the name to call you by. It makes the introduction easier when they first call. Okay. But the other titles that you can use, or some titles that are there, you can be a little bit more personal in that area as well. We'll take a look at some headlines in just a few minutes. Let's take a look at some headlines. These two, there's nothing wrong with either one of these two, retired or unemployed. They're truthful and they tell the same thing, but they're probably not the titles, headlines that you want to use because they have negative connotations. This one's a little bit better. It's a little bit vague though. Seeking a new opportunity. Doing what? Being a janitor, a jack of all trades, a vice president, a sales representative. Again, give some more information to make it easy for the recruiter, hiring manager to know what it is that you're looking for, because you have 6 to 10 seconds in looking at that. VP, formerly VP of Finance, nothing wrong with that, except it says formally. People probably know that there's a large percentage of people on LinkedIn who are not working, but you don't need to broadcast it. Experienced digital design engineer seeking a new opportunity is much better than just seeking a new opportunity. It kind of defines what the person is. It gives the impression that he's still working. Here's another one, social media strategist. Gives some other information, uses things like an ampersand for the and to use space. Seeking a new opportunity uses a pipe character, which is right here. That's an uppercase, well, that's a shift character just above your enter key on your keyboard. It's the uppercase of that. And if you use that, put a space on either side because I've had opportunity, pipe, print all together. They're not searchable as one word. Okay. PR, again, it's okay to use acronyms. Some are very well recognized like CPA or MBA or public relations. Again, those are okay. If they're not well known, you want to spell those out. Here's another one. This one is pretty succinct and short. Supply chain, procurement, purchasing. This is an individual who has that in the background, could possibly add logistics. Again, these titles are kind of short to get them on the screen. Senior accountant, GL, which is general ledger. You could have put other things like AP or AR, which are known for in the financial and accounting area, and cost accounting, financial reporting. Executive assistant, if you're going to use that, I'd also amplify that one because there are about 35, maybe 40,000 executive assistants in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that have that on their profile. So differentiate yourself a little bit and say that you, in this case, has budgeting experience, possibly event planning experience, or supported CEO's office. Those are the kind of things that you can add to that. IT project manager, pretty short. ITIL is a certification that people can get. Somebody who's a Scrum Master and has worked with Agile. Again, for an IT recruiter or someone in IT, those all mean something. Somebody might glance further at your profile to see what kind of experience that goes along with. Here's another one which is pretty short and succinct. General manager, manufacturing and aerospace. Again, pretty descriptive of what the individual's background is. But let's take a look at some more detailed background. Some more detailed headlines. How about this one? A global marketing VP. Okay. This is an even better one. Creating value for business through effective marketing strategies that increase sales by 40%. Again, that's a lot more attractive than somebody who just says they've been a VP of global marketing. In this particular one, a project manager, program manager, sales manager. They've had a number of different experiences, but isn't it more expressive when they talk about international business and aerospace? Again, it narrows it down a bit, probably. In some cases, you may not want to have it be that narrow. Senior customer services manager, customer relations manager, amplified by trying to keep customers, retain customers and increase sales, because it's a lot harder to generate new accounts than it is to keep the old ones that you have. Again, I've mentioned the open to work section, that banner that's there right underneath your headline. You can click that. It gives the contact information It's open for 90 days and can tell what kind of areas. If you're open to other parts of the country, this is a good place to talk about that. Again, moving on down your profile, your LinkedIn dashboard and features section. Again, we're going to take a look at the dashboard. Again, the two things that are important there. Who's looked at my profile in the last week or 90 days? Okay. How many posting views have we got? I had about 400 because I posted this Zoom presentation on my LinkedIn profile, and it went out to my network, and that many people looked at it. How many times have I appeared in search appearances? If you're job hunting, this is pretty important. And we're going to click on this in just a minute and show you what you can do with that. The next area is your featured section, and you can include things like PowerPoint presentations, which is the one I'm doing today. Again, you can include other presentations. You can have things like your resume that can be there, although I don't recommend putting your resume because it's pretty static. It's frozen in time. And again, if you're applying for a job, you want to tailor your resume a little bit to the job that you're applying for. And that's a little hard with your LinkedIn profile. Again, you can also have things like if you have a portfolio or a reel. My son's a motion graphic designer, and he has his so-called reel or portfolio that's there that people can take a look at some of his work samples. If we move further and click on the search appearances that I mentioned earlier, this area, you click on that on your profile, it's going to tell you where those people that did the searches worked. That may be a list of target companies for you. It may be the words that they used. I looked on mine today, and 7% of the people that we're looking at were recruiters. They might be looking for a recruiter for their staff. In my case, they might be looking at a recruiter. There's looking at a recruiter who can help them find a job. But those are the search terms that are used. So those are the kinds of things that you may want to make sure that they're included in your resume or your profile. Let's take a look at the summary section or the about. This happens to be one that I like. It's a particularly long one. Again, I don't recommend that they be necessarily this long, but it does start out with a contact information at the top. It starts out talking about a financial planning and analysis individual. Again, they've been an operations leader with 20 years of experience. It's a good idea to have 3, 4, 5 lines and break it up. Maybe have some bulleted items before you go back to text. And maybe we can take a look at my profile. I can show you what I'm talking about in that case. If you do use an acronym like FP&A, that's a generally accepted recruiting term, but for some people, they may not know what that stands for. Just like AMA, there are 22 different AMAs that are recognized in the United States. Okay, could be American Marketing Association, American Motorcycle Association, American Medical Association. Those are just some of them. So spell out what it is the first time that you use it. Here's some other examples of summaries. In this case, they've gone to personal using an I statement. Usually using I, me, my is not recommended for your resume, but you can do that on your profile. Again, these are more personal, going in with some softer skills. In this particular one, somebody who's worked at Disney World, they talk about some of their key competencies and their experience and what they're looking to do, who they are. Strategic, creative, and hands-on marketer. Again, I don't recommend those kind of things in a resume because they usually don't tell what you've done or what you accomplished with that. But those are other additional ways that you can do that. And if anyone should want the slide deck for today, send me an email at Locke Alderson, all one word, gmail.com, and I'll be happy to send you the slides. Okay. Moving down your profile a little bit, this is your experience section. Good idea to have the company name, company dates, your job title, the company name and dates, your duties and responsibilities. Generally good to limit that to 3 to 5 lines, and then you can talk about other things. So then maybe some bulleted areas of expertise or accomplishments. This is actually from my profile. There are 4 lines here of descriptive duties, a couple of accomplishments that I had were bulleted. And then this was a statement. This was an email I got from my former senior director of recruiting at Oracle Corporation in my last day at work. I just included that because it's kind of like a letter of recommendation or a recommendation itself, a letter of reference. But that's what you can do with your experience section. And if the company is not well known, it's a good idea to conclude a 1-line summary of what the company does. Also, if you're unemployed, it's a good idea to have a job hunting position, a current position. In this particular case, I just titled it Software Applications Designer, that they're looking for full-time employment. And for an opportunity in a particular industry, I just chose financial services. As I started to type in Dallas, you see some of the artificial intelligence that you can put in there, whether it's the Metroplex, Dallas, or Dallas County that you can include on that. But it's good to have one of those things because that current employment or current position is one of those fields that has a value when LinkedIn search is performed, and you get points for that. Again, moving on down, taking a look at skills and endorsements. You can add up to 50 skills and endorsements, as it says right there. This particular one has 21 that are filled, and I can add 29 more. You can type in, just click on the journalism or any of these like that, or you can just start to type in one like journalist instead of journalism. If it doesn't accept it, it will not let you include it. But again, that's a way to do it. And as I say, LinkedIn has some artificial intelligence which has similar type terms. Your top 3 are displayed on your profile. And see if you'll have to take a look at some others of them. We can show you how to adjust those in just a second, which is right now. Again, it lists 3. LinkedIn will choose 3 for you. Again, you notice here, my particular one was career consulting, executive search, and recruiting. The number of times that I've been endorsed by people. This is by people I work with at Mullen International. You can add new skills by doing that, but I can rearrange that. You can do that by clicking on the blue push pin over here and dropping those down to this next section of industry knowledge. And there are several sections in there. You can arrange the order of these by holding down your cursor on this section and moving that down. Say if I want a career consulting to be the 3rd one shown. If I don't want any of these to be shown, I click that and then I click another push pin down here to move one of those to the top group. But again, only 3 of those are shown. If you'll notice, in my case, I've got 49 skills that are shown on my profile. Again, the next thing we want to take a look at is your profile. Okay, in that particular section you want to have, you want to take a look at other people's profiles. And the reason that you want to do that is to find out, because if you do a search for recruiter in the Dallas area, if I do that, I used to appear in the first 2 screens. There are about 35,000 recruiters in the Dallas, have recruiter in their profile in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But because I'm not active every day on LinkedIn, I don't show up until probably screen 10, 12, something like that. There are 10 little thumbnail sketches on each page. Recruiters typically look at 10, 11, 12 screens before they'll move on to and choose a candidate. So go in and take a look at a candidate like Christina Tannehill. You can look at her profile and find out what things are in her profile that cause her to be ranked there. It may be the word recruiter, it could be talent scout, talent associate, talent management, or offered different words there. But notice how many times recruiter appears in the headline itself. Ask recruiter at, okay, where they work. That word recruiter appears many times like that. So more times that you have recruiter in your profile, in a job title, in a headline, and you're open to work section, more likely it's going to be found as a recruiter. So what do recruiters do? Let's move on to taking a look at recruiters when they do a search. These are recruiters in general, not just recruiters that have the LinkedIn software license for recruiters. They tend to look at keywords, okay? They tend to look at job title or titles in your past and present employment, in your headline, in your open to work sections. They tend to look at skills, and they take a look at industries and specific companies, okay? And they tend to look at your education. They'll take a look at a location, and they'll look at your pedigree, your prior and current companies, okay? Then they may look at your actual profile itself. Well, let's take a look at what a recruiter search sees. I think that's what that says. How LinkedIn runs recruiter searches. So the things it looks for is matches. As I said, a value for each section in the profile. It looks at keywords. It looks at your skills. It looks at your exact matches, the number of times they have an exact match on the title. The number of the companies that they have in the industry that you've worked in. They look at open to work. Again, recruiters like open to work because that's an indication the candidate is open to a new opportunity. Again, if somebody isn't, it doesn't mean they aren't looking or willing to consider something. It's just the recruiters like easy approaches. They take low-hanging fruit. They like geographic locations because candidates have taught recruiters they're not willing to go more than about 25 miles to work. So that's found on your profile when you include your location, like Plano or zip code. all-star status, first and second degree connections, and following companies, somebody who's active on LinkedIn with 500 connections, and somebody who comments or posts articles or writes a blog. Those are the things that are found on LinkedIn when they do a search. So what is a recruiter? Recruiter software license package. They have a spreadsheet, not a spreadsheet, but a data entry sheet that looks something like this. This is copied from Kurt Vandematter's presentation that he did. And you can notice the number of things that a recruiter can look at and check on in terms of companies, skills, accomplishments, location, job titles, open to work, likely to respond. Again, by checking that, they can take 700 million candidates and narrow it down to 730 seconds just by filling that out and clicking search over here at the right. But let's take a look at some of the searches that generated. In this particular search, there was no specificity in terms of location. So this is the United States. Individual search for accountants in the United States, there were about 4,280,000. Okay, that's a lot. And I wouldn't recommend that as a recruiter. I wouldn't do a search like that to start out with. I'd narrow it down and then probably widen my search. Again, but what they've looked at are the different locations. Again, they haven't specified a location. What skills they're looking for. Accountants come in all sizes and shapes with all kinds of background and experience. This is one that's a little bit more specific. This is one for a product manager. They'd also consider a senior product manager. Okay, this search identified 6,900 candidates. Again, some of them were following the particular company that this recruiter worked for and have engaged in your talent brand. Those are things that you can follow on LinkedIn. They were specifically looking in the location in Seattle, but they consider somebody from the San Francisco area. And they consider product management as well as product marketing as well. Notice the companies they've added. These are a couple of companies in the Seattle area, Microsoft, Amazon, and Fluke Corporation. And they've added a school, University of Washington up there. So that one drew that number of candidates. Here's another search. This one is in Chicago for a project manager. Notice they have Chicago area, but they consider candidates from San Francisco or New York. They want somebody, a product manager that has analytics and business strategy experience. This one had about 42,000, almost 43,000 candidates that they'd look at. Again, that's what a recruiter starts out with and narrow down the list that they have. Again, Northwestern is a school just north of Chicago. That's one that they looked at. And they were specifically looking for Google, Facebook, even Evernote, and LinkedIn experience. Those were some of the target companies that they would apply for. So how do you go about searching for a job? Well, when you can do that, you can use a search box at the top of LinkedIn that you can start with, or you can click on the jobs tab right here and enter information in jobs and locations. If you simply enter a job or start to type in a job like consultant, okay, CON, and you drop down a menu, artificial intelligence will give you some choices for that. If you don't add anything to touch the touchpad, if you don't add anything to the location and just a job title, if you haven't already searched in a particular location, it will search for the entire United States, and then you have to specify with it. If you had a location like Dallas, it will do that. Then click search. This is a search that I did for a senior accountant based in Plano, Texas. And you notice that on that for Plano, there's a distance of 25 miles from Plano. So I find that by looking at your zip code or where you've entered in terms of where you live or where you're willing to look. This particular search generated 144 results. There are some filters that are across here. I'm going to take a look at the filters in just a minute. This was the top job that came up on that. Again, because I graduated from A&M and part of an A&M network, I have 5 alumni that actually work there. There might be people that I want to contact about that company and that job. Here's a description of the job, and you can apply online for that as well. Okay, and so those are the different things, but these are the different filters across the top. Let's take a look at the filters for a minute. This is the screen. LinkedIn has changed that. It's now only half the screen. But one of the things that I recommend all the time for everybody is to change anytime to the past week. The reason being, once a job is posted on the internet, whether it's on LinkedIn or Monster, the first response is usually within the first 2 or 3 minutes. And there can be as many as 300 or 400 in the first hour. So some of you may have encountered where you tried to apply for a job and that job is no longer available. Recruiters have taken it down because they've had more than enough responses. Something else that LinkedIn has added recently, and I think they picked that up from Indeed.com, is a salary bracketing. And you can narrow that down as well here. Okay. You can use the easy apply. I don't necessarily recommend easy apply unless it also allows you to upload your resume. Some easy apply simply takes your profile and makes that your resume, which isn't tailored to the job necessarily. Okay. In this case, you can notice that there's full-time, contract, part-time, intern, temporary, volunteer, and other. Some people are looking only for intern type jobs. Most of the jobs are going to be permanent full-time kinds of position, but you can narrow the location down as well. If you should find that that's not it, you can go in and cancel the search, and it takes you back to just your original search criteria as well. One of the other things that allows you to do once you've done a job search, there's a button up here called Job Alert On. Well, if I click that to on, it gives me the choice to receive a notice of any job posted at that company or for that kind of a position, either daily or weekly. Okay, those come in daily if I'm searching for a job, and you can glance through those rather hurriedly or click on them to take a look at the specific job. I still get some for recruiter every day from LinkedIn, and also for career coach, even though I'm not looking and haven't been looking since December of 19. But by doing that daily or weekly, those come in first thing in the morning. You can look at those pretty quickly and get your profile in there or your resume in there right away. And this is what it looked like when it's on. I'm at the bottom. Okay. Doing searches or searching for people. In this particular case, what did I call this? I said searching for people using the search box. Okay, I could come in, somebody did a search on me, just starting on that with my name. You notice there's my name. I'm the first one that's there because I have an unusual name, but their company's name, like Locke, which is a law firm here in town. There's a hotel chain. There's an IT services company, a showcase, and another attorney firm, and a charity march, okay, charity match. So that's just one way that you can go ahead and search for people. Okay, you can search for people in your own network by clicking on your network. This individual had 2,600 connections. They can search by different connections. If we take it further, you can actually use search with filters to find people that you might be looking for at a particular company. In this case, you're looking for first and second degree connections that have worked in the Dallas, live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and might have worked at Lennox International, so that you could look at your connections. With me, with 6,000 connections, it's one of those things that I want to do to find out if I'm looking for a particular individual that might have worked at Penny's or Lennox International. I can look that particular way. And they're looking for a recruiter or talent acquisition at that company. They're looking that way. Next one is a specific search, and they're looking at a specific company. This case, I went for a company called Med Analytics, which is on Bush Freeway in Richardson. Okay, and looked at them. I clicked on that, then I clicked on people to find people there. They have about 510 employees. You notice that 130 of them are here in the Dallas area. Several of them went to the University of Texas at Dallas. If I click further and say I want to look at the recruiter of those 129 employees, it'll list out the recruiters, and there's just one recruiter, and her profile is there. Gives me her name, and I can contact her about a specific opportunity. Gives you other information about them so you can start a conversation. So have it be a warm conversation instead of a cold conversation. One additional thing that when you can do that on a company search, if you have some companies on a target list of companies, you can do that. In this particular case, you can look at jobs on their website right here and search for a job title. In this case was they had 6 jobs here, and then you can create a job alert for just that company for any position that's open for that. Some homework for you to take away with you. Complete each section of your profile. If you have a complete section, you'll more likely be rated as an all-star and given additional values when somebody does a search. Use the name that you want to be called by. Use a headline. Be sure to include one. Use the job title or titles. You now have 220 characters to apply that to that you're looking for. And if you don't, as I said, don't include a headline, it's going to default to your last job title in your employment section. You want to complete the open to work, even if you don't open it up to everyone on LinkedIn. The recruiters know that you're looking for a job. Okay? Include your phone number and email in the first line of your about section. We'll take a look at some people's profiles and see where they are on those. They even have it. In your experience section, you want the company names, the job titles. There may be several, and we'll take a look at my profile and take a look at that. And measurable results, the results that you've achieved, your accomplishments. Those accomplishments or results add credibility to your experience. You want keywords from your profession as well. And you want skills in your profession. You know, what that might be, sourcing or recruiting, or some of those are hiring, screening, interviewing, are all keywords from my profession. Jeff, I'm going to turn it back to you and see if I can go to new sharing. And we'll go this time to, did my profile come up, Jeff?
It sure did.
Good, we can search. Well, let's take a look at my profile for just a second. You notice I don't have the open to work selected on this one, but I could do that right here, okay, on my profile, and that's a profile that's there. My contact information, if I contact that, open that up, I do have a phone number, I do have an email address. Okay, you want to have that. The other thing that show, this is that dashboard that I was showing you. Search appearances and the other things that you have, the salary insights. Here's the about section. I've got my contact information right there. But again, the first 3 lines are all to show. When you open it up, you have 2,000 characters in your about section that you can play with. Notice I've limited to 3 or 4 lines in each of the areas that are there. I've listed some areas where I've been a speaker. I've listed some of the different job titles and the assignments that I had with those different job titles. Again, I modified some of those this morning. Again, this section of area specialties is area, this is designed for the recruiter, not for the, designed for the computer, not the recruiter. Again, I've listed career transition consultant and career, more times there's no commas between words, but I've listed the different titles, each in there as well. This is the featured section with, again, the presentations that I've got, some activities I've had, the jobs that I've had, again, where I've gone, the skills and endorsements that I mentioned, okay? And then recommendations I have. Let's take a look at somebody's profile, Jeff.
If somebody wants to put their name in the chat box, we'll look at your profile. Just let us know who, type your name in the chat box. Anyone want to volunteer their profile?
Or search for a job. We can do either or both.
How about somebody want to look for a specific kind of job? I mean, you're welcome to look at my profile if you'd like to look at mine, just so you can see somebody else's profile.
Want to look at Jeff's?
Yeah, let's look at mine. And then we have a job title to go look for next.
Notice that Jeff's background shot, he also got his contact information is there, his email address and his phone number. This is from, I think you did that from either a word cloud or Wordle. I'm not sure which one you did it from, Jeff.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's been, I've had it for a while.
Yeah. Again, Jeff has some things that are there. He's only used about 120 characters. He has about 200 they can have. Let's take a look at his contact information. It should be good. He's got websites. He's got an email address, so it's pretty good. Jeff has learned the lessons that over time that he's done. There's a copy of his book. If you haven't gotten his book or read it, it's worth doing. It's a quick, short read. It's one of the best summaries that I know of. Okay, do we have somebody for a job search?
Yeah, we do have a job search, a technical product manager.
I'm going to do it in the search box itself. Technical product manager.
Product manager, yes.
Okay, notice it's in jobs. It gives you a couple of, in people, you could do a people search for people with that title. Again, because I'm going to click it here, it's going to give me results for 30,000 results, okay? The reason being is I didn't select a location. So this is for the United States. So all filters going to give me the choice. Remember I mentioned that I've gone to half a page for the filters. again, is he looking in Dallas, Texas or elsewhere?
Not sure. I don't know. He didn't say, but let's just look for Dallas.
Okay, we'll click to Dallas and show results. Okay, it narrowed it down to 25 jobs. The other thing that you can hear, remember I mentioned date posted against any time past week. That will narrow it down further. These are fresh jobs. 425 to 123. If I listed experience level and said mid-senior or director, took it down to 47 jobs. So that's a way to narrow it down. If it becomes too narrow, you can go back and clear all filters with the reset button over here. Okay. Somebody else, either a job or their profile.
Well, he gave me his profile, so let's take a look at this profile.
Okay, one of the ways I can do that, I can do it in job. I can go to people. Okay.
You want to highlight the whole thing there? Oop. Okay, first name, J-A-Y. Oops. J-A-Y.
All right, I'm not a typist.
Yeah. J-A-Y, let's see here. J-A-Y M-I-N-I. No, same, all one name. And there you
This
go,
one?
the very first person there.
Okay.
Is
First
this
thing I
you?
want to take a
No,
look.
this isn't you, is it? No, I'm sorry, I got the wrong last name.
Okay. Jamini Patel.
J-A-Y-M-I-N-I. Nope, now you got a Z in there. J-A-Y.
I'm trying to jazz up her name.
J-A-Y-M-I-M-I. Last name P-A-T-E-L. And I guess let's go for the first one. Is that you, the first one? Let's see here. Click on the first one, we'll see.
I don't think we've got somebody signed in for London today, so.
Yeah, no, oh, it was the fourth one on the list. Can you go back, just go back a couple? M-I-N-I. Tell 1, 2, 3, 4.
This one?
There we go, Flower Mound. There we go.
Okay. Well, let's take a look because I can't, unless she has in her contact information how to get a hold of her, I cannot reach her. So let's see if she's got it in her about section. She does. I would take this information and you don't have to put contact information, just put it at the top, move it up to the top. I would also, if you're job hunting, I'd add your phone number. All you have to do is the email address and a phone number. You don't have to put mobile or cell. That's superfluous. You can do away. You've got a good short statement. I would break this up into probably 2 paragraphs and maybe add an accomplishment or 2 there.
She does say on here, my LinkedIn profile needs serious update.
Well, notice another thing about, because all of her experience or most of her experience has been with Sabre, they've linked all of those. They will link all of those together. My experience at Oracle Corporation is linked to my experience at Siebel. Okay, but they've linked all of those together. Again, on these, you might want to cut and paste these back in so that they're all aligned here, so that this line right here is moved under the analyzed. Makes it easier for reading. Okay.
Go back up to her first job for a second. Oop, no, not that far. First job. Okay, I'm looking at some of your bullet points, but I don't see results. It sort of reads like a
point,
job
Jeff.
description. It tells me what you sort of had to do, but ask every one of those bullet points, ask, so what? So you used Agile. What did you do? Did you create something? Did it shorten a process? Were you able to save some money? Were you able to, how were you reviewed by it? So
Yeah.
if you can give
What were the
results,
metrics that you were evaluated by? What was your performance review? What were the things on your performance review that you did well? What are the areas you need to improve on? But anything like used Agile, Scrum framework, okay? Agile should be up here as well. It should be in your headline. Technical product manager. I would have Agile and Scrum are things that are there. They can be here, they can be in the about section, they can be the title, they can be in your employment section. The more times that you have that, the better it is. The best example I can think of when I moved from Siebel to Oracle Corporation, we still supported the Siebel product. I ran an ad for a Siebel consultant in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I got 75 responses. 50 of them didn't even have Siebel in the resume. I know that they applied because it was Oracle Corporation, thinking, well, we've got other jobs in Minneapolis that are going to apply for. Again, but I was only looking for a Siebel consultant. And I would look at the Siebel experience. They had at one time, they maybe used Siebel as a product. If they'd used it 10 times, it's possible they'd been a Siebel consultant and actually installed Siebel. In this case, you're shortchanging yourself by not saying some of the things that you've done. Again, you've worked in the transportation industry as well. Again, not limiting yourself to that. IT is usually one of those professions that crosses industry lines. Okay.
and if you've used certain testing tools, list those testing tools. If you've used
Break
certain
them out in a separate
programs,
area. Break them out into a skills table.
Right. Right.
Okay.
You have a lot of room there in the about section to add a lot more.
In the about
information.
section, you have 2,000 characters to play with, and you've used probably 200.
But make sure whatever keywords you have in your about section, make sure it's sprinkled through your job description so that when people, when Kurt Vondermatter searches for somebody and he puts in a keyword, he just doesn't want to see it in the about section. He wants to see, well, where did you do that at a job? He wants to, he wants to see it a couple times in your job description. So when you use a keyword, if you can get it in there 3 to 5 times throughout your profile, that really helps.
Okay. Do we want to look for another person for a job or a profile?
Yeah, we have a Jennifer would like to look for a systems administrator.
A type, I'd be dangerous, Jeff. Okay. Systems administrator.
Yes.
Okay. Now, because I haven't specified, it's in people. If I switch over here to jobs, it goes to systems administrator. But again, because I didn't put in location, it put in United States. So we can use all filters, or I could go up here and do it.
Texas.
Jennifer, where are you located at?
Frisco.
Okay. So Dallas Fort Worth. Okay. Dallas
Yeah.
Fort Worth Metroplex.
Yeah.
Okay. Now there are 987 jobs. What was one of the first things we did, Jennifer, in terms of jobs that you want to look at?
Well, I have it narrowed down to location, like you have miles, radius.
Well, that's one of the things we'll look at in just a second. But again, right now, because it defaults to 25 miles. Okay. So the first thing that you want to do, because as a systems administrator, those kind of jobs come and go pretty quickly. I'm going to want to narrow that down to the past week or the last 7 days, and it narrowed it down to 260 jobs. Okay, the other thing that you want to do is experience level. Are you entry level? Entry level is generally a beginner. Associate is usually up to 2 years experience. Mid-senior level is anywhere from 4 to 10.
Over 20.
Let's do but individual contributor or management.
Individual.
Okay, so that's mid-senior, that's how they classify mid-senior level. Okay, so we narrowed it down to 58 positions. Okay, if we look at all filters, one of the things that you can do on all filters is you can notice, let's say for the sake of example, okay, if I'm looking Dallas-Fort Worth area, let's narrow it down to just Frisco. And it narrowed it down to 3 jobs. Okay. Another thing that you can do on filters, as I said, is to narrow it down by salary. I think that's on here.
It's at the bottom.
Yeah, okay. So let's say that you're only interested in jobs at what?
80,
100K, 80K?
80, yeah.
Okay, 80 and above. None will show. Let's drop it down a little bit. They may be flexible on salary and
Drop
say,
Frisco.
okay,
Yes.
it
If you
showed
drop
those 3.
Frisco,
This is
it's
2.
fine.
SA Technologies looks like a contracting firm. Okay, these look like the same job. This one has been, tells you that there are 10 applicants, 12 applicants, and active recruiting on both of these. So they may have 2 jobs, they may just have 1. Okay. But then you can clear that by reset and going back to this, and it goes back to our 987 to start with. So you don't have to redo the title. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
that help?
Yes.
All right, well, we're sort of at the top of the hour. Locke, thank you very, very much. Great information today, as always.
Got the technology to work today.
Yeah, we did. Well, yeah. We'll have this figured out eventually. Today is our 320th workshop or 321st workshop we've put on. So thank you very, very much for today, for being with us today. Next week,
I'll put in one more plug. If anybody wants the slides, even though Jeff has recorded it, anybody who wants the slide deck, send me an email to Locke Alderson, all one word, at gmail.com. I'll be happy to send it to you.
All right, thank you. Next week, Ruth Lipsky will be our speaker. She's going to talk about LinkedIn search engine optimization. So how to make sure you've got your LinkedIn profile up and ready to go. Join us next Wednesday or next Tuesday. All right, I need everybody to please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jeff Morris, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request and to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer. And you know, I think I'm going to have to modify this to say, and I will include my email and phone number in my profile. I'll maybe update that for next week's promise. Career DFW and Career USA, we're putting on training 5 days a week now. Tomorrow for interviewing Wednesdays, every Wednesday we do an interview session. Tomorrow, session 12 will be difficult interviewers, difficult questions, and how to cultivate confidence in an interview. How to handle those difficult interviewers, because some of them will purposely try to throw you off. Every Thursday, we do an effective resume Thursday class. This week, Tony Bashera from Babbage and Associate. He owns Babbage and Associates, one of the oldest recruiting firms in Texas. And he'll be talking about the top 10 big mistakes of resume writing. So please join us for that. On Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group at 9:30 in the morning, how writing a book can help with your career. Now, even if you don't publish a book, everybody here, I know you've got lots and lots of experience, but even if you don't publish a book, you can use some of what you write to post on LinkedIn to show people what you know and to be a thought leader. So if nothing else, just, you know, take it part of the way and, you know, help you how to come up with some things. So join us this Friday morning. Next Monday at 1 o'clock, we will have a networking session on how to network. If you'd like to join the our LinkedIn groups, we have a Career DFW LinkedIn group and a Career USA LinkedIn group. You're welcome to join both. You don't have to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to be in the Career DFW group. We have over 13,100 members. We're getting close to 13,200. So, you know, please join us. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. Please follow us on Facebook. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel looks something like this. Please click the green arrow where it says playlist, and up will come the different playlists that I've put together. And then you can find the one there that says LinkedIn, and where the red arrow is, don't click on the video, but click where it says view full playlist, and up will come a list of all the different topics and titles in chronological order. If the newest one's not on top, please just click on the little sort button. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops on a daily basis from another group that you're part of, you're welcome to join the Career USA mailing list. You can send an email to career+subscribe@groups.io. You will only get emails from me. Nobody else can publish emails. You won't get spam. But what you will get is the daily topic, the daily title, and the Zoom link for the day. Please remember, Career DFW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Locke is a volunteer. I'm a volunteer. We have no full or part-time employees. Career DFW survives on donation. Please consider making a donation when you get your next great opportunity. So thank you for joining us today. Hopefully we'll see you later in the week. Locke, once again, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Jeff.